Hey everybody, welcome back. Movie review time, where we geek out about a movie we just saw, and we just saw...
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah, Frasier, the movie. What? Yesterday. I was gonna make the same joke I made in the first video, this non-spoiler video, and I was like, I can't do that. Anyways, let's get this...
I get to make a joke for once.
Yes, exactly, and I appreciate it. But let's get this warning started so we can get all the other things out of the way while we're warning. So, this is going to be our spoiler discussion. We're going to spoil the crap out of this movie. We might even talk about the very end first. So, if you want to not have any spoilers, you need to click on out of this video. We do have a no spoiler video. There's a link in the description below, and I recommend checking that out even if you have seen the movie, because that gives more of our actual opinions. This is going to be more detailed discussion, and we'll give you all that. Well, you got a minute if you need to run across the room before we start saying any spoilers.
Scrambled eggs.
So, you want to tell them why you said that, just in case? That's a good spoiler warning break, because it's not a spoiler. It's just giving you a minute.
So, the original placeholder for yesterday, because he came up with the music first, was scrambled eggs. And then of course he's like, can't go with that.
And now that you've had plenty of time to click out and get your spoiler warning, final warning, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers.
Spoilers!
They didn't make a reference to the scrambled eggs in the movie, though.
No.
We were hoping.
Although I love one of the running jokes that they did go with.
The Eleanor Rigby stuff?
The Eleanor Rigby. Okay, Eleanor Rigby is one of my favorite. Eleanor Rigby is one of my favorite Beatles songs.
Okay.
And that's why I couldn't. He gave me the stink eye once or twice because I'm sitting here like fixing the lines for him.
Yeah, and I'm like, sweetie, we're in a movie theater. Shut up.
It's Pavlovian practically.
Well, that's all right, since the dude beside you, especially the last 20 minutes, is looking at his phone every 3 minutes. I don't think you were bothering anybody. But, yeah.
Because you know, by now you probably know the premises. Everybody's forgotten the Beatles song except for this guy and a couple other people.
Well, this is spoilers, so yeah, there was a couple other people. And a few other things have been forgotten, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So he's sitting here going, like, trying to remember the lyrics. He's like, how does this song go?
Which, again, you know, if you saw my trailer reactions, I've talked about how it's always been a fantasy of, like, go back in time and do the Beatles songs before the Beatles. And this movie brings to light...
You are crap with lyrics.
I was never a lyric guy. I always preferred to have my own lyrics and make the songs be about what I wanted them to be about. Like, I know lyrical melodies and harmonies, but I never really paid attention to lyrics until recently.
So
I started.
you would be more of a Rocket Man situation where you'd be,
yeah.
God, why can't I think of his name?
I know the partner. The lyricist. Just, yeah, let's not spend time trying to think on something that doesn't...
I hate when I can't remember names.
I know.
But, you know, you'd be the musical guy. You have to find yourself a lyricist.
Yes and no. I do write my own lyrics. I do think I've gotten older, they've gotten better. But, admittedly, that's the part I hate. That's the part I generally... Because, like, I can spew out, like, riffs and harmonies and ballad, you know, just musically, I can make songs left and right, good or bad, whatever, but left or right. But, yeah, lyrics. And even vocal melodies, they'll come to me because that's obviously part of the song. But, anyways... Not about me and not about my songwriting.
But it kind of is, actually.
Well, that was the point, is that I'm crappy. Well, yeah, you're right, because we talked about that in the no spoilers about my musician brain had me annoyed that he didn't have a band, so it's kind of discounting, you know, Ringo's contribution or Paul's bass lines or even the harmonies of John and Paul.
I don't think that was intentional. I think this is just a guy who is just so used to being by himself that...
I agree, but by the time he's on tour, when he gets asked to go on tour with Ed Sheeran, somebody's giving him a backup band. You're not going to open for an Ed Sheeran who would not be playing in a club that small in Russia.
I think we've had some opening acts that don't have a backup band.
I think you're thinking of Vance Joy, but he had a backup band.
No, I'm thinking there was a chick
Swift.
at Riverbend that was opening for somebody, and I'm pretty sure it was just her and her guitar.
Well, there's also a difference between, like, if you're doing, like, say, like a Sarah McLachlan style thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing more ballady kind of things, or slower, or more like what's the word I'm looking for? Folk kind of music. Whereas if you're doing rock and roll pop songs,
I guess, yeah.
And again, there is a distinction there because, like, he's doing like I Want to Hold Your Hand. But it's just him and a guitar, like, opening for Ed Sheeran. I'm like, that discounts. Yeah. Again, that's fine in real life and normal situations.
I think this is just, but again, kind of think of this as a fairy tale.
I know, that's what I have to say. I have to turn my brain off about it. But my point being is, and again, in real life, real situations, original musicians doing whatever, but the conceit of this movie being he's going to blow the world's minds with playing the Beatles songs for them the first time ever. It's like what we're hearing is not what the Beatles songs were.
Yeah.
They're half-assed interpretations that are not as powerful as when you get Ringo's solid backbeat, you know, and you get the bass lines and you get that John and Paul magic of their harmonies, you know, because they barely even did harmonies in there.
Yeah, because it was just him, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had a band later, but anyways, I don't want to harp on too much of the same stuff we harped on in No Spoilers, but...
So, do we want to go to the big spoiler?
Sure. Well, if it's what I think. Well, go wherever you want, so...
Okay.
Where you want to take it? What are you talking about? Which one? Because I can think of two things.
Well, actually, let's back up. So, the two other people who actually remember...
Yeah, and this was my thing, like, they show up ominously, like, looking at him, and you're like... And there was even a moment when I thought, oh my God, is the tall Russian dude, is it going to end up being like he assassinates him, like John Lennon, you know, or something like that? Because they set it up so ominously that I thought, oh, there's maybe something dark's going to happen here.
Well, I didn't think it was going to be dark per se, but it was just the threat of, these are clearly people who kind of know exactly what's going on.
And even if you don't get that, something's up.
And they could potentially be a threat to him in terms of they can go, you didn't write these songs. They could effectively try to blackmail him or something.
Yeah, clearly there's supposed to be some kind of threat.
Yeah.
But it's totally underplayed. They don't do enough of that to make... Because the reveal that, no, they're just... And I love the concept of the reveal that we're just happy you brought the songs back out because we can't do what you do as a musician.
Right.
And we're just happy to have the songs again. That's beautiful. I love that concept. I love that reveal. I love that
was an
flip.
Interesting twist, yeah.
But I don't think they set them up enough for that to be as powerful as it probably should have been. Or as cool. Because, I mean, you get like one or two shots, and I kind of feel like maybe we should have seen them lurking around a little bit more than we did. Just really make you think, oh, they're going somewhere with this. But honestly, that's pretty much the only stakes in the film. Other than that, it's just it's a love, will they, won't they love story, and you know they will, you know?
Actually, it would have been kind of interesting if we focus on more to see how they ended up connecting. Because that could have been, because then you could have had a very ambiguous like conversation between them, especially since like he's Russian and she's English. So there would have been maybe some language stuff going on that would come across a bit more sinister to somebody on the outside of the conversation. Yeah. That could have been interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Or more of those people, or just anything. They really just underplayed that. So I was a little disappointed there.
But apparently they were doing a lot of digging.
Yeah, because well, before we get to that, we should, not that it really matters, this is spoilers, but I do want to pick a bone, not faulting the movie for this, not even faulting the marketing for this, but oh my God, does the marketing mislead you? Because like the famous trailer for the big trailer for this is the one where it's like they show the James Corden bit of, oh, we have two people here who claim that you're stealing their songs, and you know they show the feet that it's John and Ringo.
Yeah.
It's a fucking dream sequence.
Wait a minute. How do you know it's supposed to be Ringo? Because that could theoretically...
Because those are I'm sorry, Paul and Ringo is who it's supposed to be. Because in his mind, they were still the ones that are alive.
I thought
he said Paul and Ringo.
I thought it was Harrison that went around barefoot.
It might be. I don't know. But that's a detail I don't think that's to the point we're making. The point I'm making is that was totally a fucking dream sequence. And you start to realize
by the way, I think his fly was down for the first few shots of that
the James Corden segment.
Yeah, I'm sitting going, I think the fly's open. He's sitting on the couch.
Right. But, so I was a little disappointed with that. But, you know, because that was one of the, I think also too, that was one of the expectation things is like, oh, are we going to get a Beatles cameo in here? Yeah. Are we going to see like an alternate universe Paul or John?
Yeah, because
I mean Paul or Ringo.
Because you do have a lot of people playing themselves in this movie.
Yeah, the celebrities.
Yeah, so it seemed like, okay, that would be a major get if you could get Paul or Ringo to, you know, do a cameo.
And it seems like something they would have been down to do, but no, you don't get either of them. You get John Lennon.
Which in some ways makes sense, because if he hadn't gained the the stardom that he had, he wouldn't have been assassinated.
Right, yeah, which is great. So they had Robert Carlyle play him. They aged him up. They didn't mention that's who played him in the credits.
Yeah, he's not credited at all.
Yeah, she looked it up because we both kind of thought that's who it was for different reasons.
I was like, Mr. Gold?
She recognized the voice. I kind of saw it in the face because the makeup's good, but you know it's somebody in makeup.
I think he actually said Derry once or something like that.
And this was actually a really great scene, except that it immediately showed me the conceit of what the movie's trying to get at, and I don't necessarily like the message. I have issues with the message of the film, which is basically saying, choose love over your dreams. And it's like, I'm totally romantic, and I totally love love, but I also love dreams, and I think people should be able to accomplish the things, because essentially it's saying you can either have this great music career and make this great music that changes the lives of millions of people, or you can have a happy life of love. And I do see there's a dichotomy there, because you do have to give up so much to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that kind of being like the message of, hey, you know, screw this great art, go make yourself happy and live your, you know, and he ends up in the soul-crushing job that she never wanted him to take as a teacher.
But he seems to be enjoying it.
I know, but like there's even a moment in the movie where she's like, I don't want you to ever do that. The magic of what you do is important, and but then they celebrate it as that's what he's supposed to do, and it's like, what movie, make up your mind.
But in some ways, he did do the thing. He created all the music. He uploaded it to the world. Although, oh my God, the lawsuit that would have generated would have been insane.
That's the thing I was talking about, and no spoilers about. Yeah. They had no consequences for that. I mean, he gave away the massive record that the record label had put probably millions and millions of dollars into. Just gave it away for free, and there's not even a hint of it, except for Kate McKinnon's amazing face the last time you see her through the door. That expression.
A little too cartoony in this.
Maybe, yeah. She didn't fit the tone with everybody else. She's not terribly, but a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, cause I kind of feel like she was sort of in a different movie.
A little bit. Yeah.
I still enjoyed it, yeah. I love her, but it's like not quite meshing here.
Yeah.
But that's why basically I decided that this is a fairy tale.
Okay.
So, you know,
just before you get started into that, I'm sorry, just real quick, I don't want to forget that we like to make money. We'll be right back.
Oh, God.
Okay, so you're saying fairy tale?
Right. So, I mean, a modern fairy tale is sort of the best way to think about this in terms of just letting a lot of these things just kind of pass by the wayside.
Yeah.
Especially the massive lawsuit.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I had another thought. Although I kind of want other movies in this universe where, because they made the point of going like, oh, apparently only 3 people remembered the Beatles, but only one person could really, you know, resurrect it.
Yeah.
What happens if, you know, there's a couple people who still remember Coke and somebody actually has the means to
replicate Coca-Cola? Yeah, because again,
like, or going like, I could totally make cigarettes a thing again. Oh, that's just evil, but
right. But also too, it's
or Harry Potter.
Like I like the gag they were doing with that. That there was a random few other things they'd call back to, but as at the same time, I'm like, it's kind of unnecessary. Like, what's the point?
I think it was just randomness.
I feel like I actually wanted more of an explanation as to what happened, but
because I was sitting here going like, is there some sort of Beatles Coke connection that I don't know?
Right,
about?
There might be that too, but I'm sure there was no Beatles cigarette thing. And if you're going to say that you can't have Harry Potter because there's no Beatles, then you certainly don't have half the acts they're talking about. Although I did like the joke that they erased Oasis.
That's the thing. Like, well, depending on how, because that was one of the very first things other than the Beatles that we found out was gone. And,
right.
And you sitting there going like, well, if they were heavily influenced by Beatles, and I can see maybe.
Well, and the joke with Oasis is they are completely a wannabe Beatles clone. I'm not knocking them. You know, you do each your own. Wonderwall's an enjoyable song, but that was the gag.
Supernova's good too.
Yeah. So I mean, that was the gag, and I can appreciate the gag. But like I said, you would never have half these other bands. Like he had the fucking Killers poster on his wall. Like they wouldn't exist. Ed Sheeran wouldn't have a career. I mean, like I think a lot of people, and I was gonna say a lot of young people, but that's not true. Young people, they're on the ball with classic music. Is what like they grew up in an era they have access to everything, and they've discovered that the oldies are great as well. But you'd kind of think that they wouldn't understand the connection. But the Beatles were incredibly influential in what music is today. Yeah. And it still holds up, their music, but not here to...
I still can't believe they were only together for 8 years.
Yeah, I know. That many freaking songs, that many hits. But that said, the love story. Okay, so I want to get on the love story. They're really cute. I really like them together. I like that it was a love story, but I don't like how it all resolved. It made him such a fucking douchebag. I mean... She's with someone. She's with an old friend of his, the engineer that helped record his first record.
Well, not exactly old friend.
Well, I mean, but it had been like a while or whatever. You know,
it actually been very, like, maybe a couple months.
But still, he knows they're together.
Right.
And he just goes on this whole thing trying to get her back, like, completely ignoring his existence in his face. And then the dude comes out, like, after all this shit happens, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, it'd be kind of neat is if he loses his shit and he's going to assassinate him like he's John Lennon, but it's the assassination attempt.
You just wanted him to get assassinated.
Apparently. But it's the assassination attempt that wakes him back up into the real world, and he realizes that's like the whole thing was either it doesn't necessarily have to be a dream. It could have been real for him or whatever, but that's what gives him the realization of what...
He gotten knocked out by the bus. He wakes up in the hospital.
Right. And it's like, oh my God. You know what? Yes, I was making these terrible choices, and there's this love. Like if you had, and you would have had to structure certain parts of the rest of the movie to make it work a little better that way, but I thought maybe it was going to go that way, and it's okay that it didn't. I'm not saying it should have, but that's where my brain went. But then the dude's just like, you know what? Being second best is all right. I'll just be the second best. It's like, okay, bro, all right. And then you cut to the chick's roommate, and it's like, he's going to end up with a roommate. And then they show up later.
That was.
Yeah, the barely, like, the in it, and literally 3 shots in the whole movie roommate. Yeah. So that actually bothered me too, because I wanted to feel the love. I wanted to be suckered in, because I'm in a romantic place. I love love stories, but at the same time, it took me out of it.
Thing is, you never got the feeling that she was completely over him.
Yeah.
And the new guy, Gavin, I want to say.
Yeah, that's correct. It's Gavin.
I think he picked up on that, and he's going like, he's like, he just says like, yeah, no, you two just go.
But I mean, then there's even the whole thing when like Gavin and her are in the audience at this Ed Sheeran concert, and the roadie goes and takes her backstage, and I'm like,
actually, I was looking for him in the audience at that point. I was like, where'd he go?
I know, it's like, I think they just didn't want you to even think about that, but I thought about it, and it bugged me. It took me out of the movie a little bit. But again, I mean, maybe I debated about having a drink for this, but my diet's doing really well, and Burger Week's coming up, so I didn't have a drink for this. I might have actually enjoyed this a little bit more, because maybe that would have turned my brain off a little bit more to it, and I could have gone on more of the fairy tale ride.
Yeah.
Because and I wasn't sitting there trying to nitpick it. I was just enjoying it, but there were things that got to me in this one and just bugged me, and it's like, oh man. I do like a specific thing that I really like in the beginning, when he gets hit with the bus, as the power's going out across the world and all of that they did one of my favorite Beatles things of all time, if not my favorite Beatles thing of all time. They did their version of the giant orchestral build-up at the end of A Day in the Life.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he hit the ground, I figure, here comes the big piano chord. And they kind of did that, but they had it be like off note and like broken strings and like, oh, he broke. But it was kind of the piano chord payoff. I thought that was a great little touch to it.
Oh, I had trouble looking at his mouth after that.
Yeah, it was really bugging her. The teeth effect was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I was like, oh, no. I fell on my face once, and I was like, my first thing was like, teeth still there? Okay.
I'll tell you who I begrudgingly got to give credit to, who was really good in this, and clearly they're wanting to get into being an actor. I'm like, all right, fine. But Ed Sheeran, he was actually like, you think back to that song competition thing, and the way his performance of showing how he lost, and he's trying to be a better man and be cool about it, but he's clearly bothered by it. Like, that was a great performance.
Yeah, actually.
For somebody that's coming out of a pop stardom world, like they aren't, they didn't come up as an actor.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how well he was doing in that. So that was pretty good. Yeah. What else? The parents were funny as hell. Yeah. The dad constantly interrupting. The scene in the kitchen with the dad when he first meets Ed Sheeran, that was great because you've seen it with me and my dad and you, like we're ever hanging out in our kitchen. Because Dad and I have a joke. It's like if we're in there at the same time, inevitably whoever's doing something needs to go wherever the other person is standing. And once that person moves, then you need to go wherever they just moved to. So it is like just... So I got a kick out of that little shuffle. I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of great shots in here. Danny Boyle is a very cinematic visualist of a filmmaker, so I was a little underwhelmed in there too because it starts off like it's going to have some crazy style, and then it really just kind of situates into something kind of just normal filmmaking.
Yeah, actually.
Because he starts off doing these like extreme Dutch angles in some places, and does like interesting things with the title cards and pans and. Like that road they kept driving on where you could kind of see the dark blue in the sky and some clouds, but it was lit with the orange of the street lights and the red of the tail lights behind. Like that was really a gorgeous image. But, there's not enough of that.
Yeah, it was actually fairly straightforward.
Mm-hmm. After that. So I thought that was kind of tonally weird that you start with some of that and then it just goes away and you don't get it anymore. And I guess, and they just left it, and I don't know how I feel about it, but they just left it in the world of... It didn't revert, like it didn't go back to the way things were. The Beatles didn't come back into existence. Just like, nope, that's the world now. No Coca-Cola, no Harry Potter, no cigarettes, no Beatles. It's weird. So what else?
I was just waiting for some massive Potterhead to be rewriting. I was like, okay. I'm going to fix a few things while I'm at it.
For sound purposes, I try to turn the AC off, but we've hit summer and it's like 90-something degrees out, so with the windows up and everything, it's warm in here. What else we got for this?
I think we covered just about everything.
Because you're right, I predicted 7 and 10, and it was like 12 and 24 by the time we're done.
I told you it was going to be longer. Why do you never listen to me?
I listen to you. Oh, that's the thing. I knew we were forgetting something.
What?
Speaking of never listening to you, or how...
Oh, yeah. So, in our non-spoiler thing, we told a story about how the weekend that we went to go see Paul McCartney, started out with Weird Al in Cincinnati on Friday. Went down to Nashville to see Guns N' Roses on Saturday.
Football stadium, I can't remember which one.
And then we drove back up to Cincinnati.
Yeah, not Louisville.
To, I believe it was US Bank Arena.
Yeah, forget about US Bank Arena. We never go up to that one. I was thinking it was at the Yum Center. Anyways, she looked at the back of my shirt and I was wrong. But I know beautiful cinematography when I see it.
Aww.
Nope, that's not it. Oh! I'm kidding. You got the cute hair. But anyways, yeah, I guess that's about it. I guess we can wrap it up there.
Okay.
Because we got, oh shit, I got drunk at movie night tomorrow. I still have to do a bunch of shit when I go home. All right, so there's our thoughts on yesterday. You can gladly pay you yesterday for a review tomorrow. What? No, hamburger. Yeah, that's our thoughts. Let us know your thoughts. Geek out with us in the spoiler comments below. We'd certainly like to hear what you have to say. If you agree, if you disagree, or what's your favorite Danny Boyle film? That's a fun thing to do. Are you excited for 28 months later, I assume? They finally announced the third part in that series, so.
Okay. Fast Zombies, I don't watch it.
Did Danny Boyle do 28 weeks now that I think? Anyways, geek out with us in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Other than that, you can click the thumbs up button and give us the good old thumb of encouragement, as we do love to be encouraged. And now we're gonna get out of here so we can go sing some Beatles tunes and watch some more stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. We'll see you all.
That's different from the rest of the time.
Exactly. Later.